You are all going to die tonight.
You're listening to the Fun with Horror podcast with your hosts, Scotty and Andrew.
Well, hello, everybody out there, you beautiful people. I'm Scotty, and this is episode 133 of Fun with Horror. And if you don't know, this is the horror movie review podcast in which two long-distance best friends take turns giving each other horror movies to watch and discuss. And that's how we stay in touch.
And he stays in touch with me. It's Andrew. And last pick was me. I chose the 2013 movie Evil Dead. And of course, stick around to the end of this episode where we get to hear what the next movie is. But without further ado, hey, buddy.
Oh, hi, buddy.
Man, that was such a good intro. You knock it out of the park.
That was a great intro.
It was so good.
I think it was the Vaseline that helped.
It might be. It always helps.
Before anything else, buddy.
Yeah.
I just want to thank everybody out there for listening to Fun with Horror. I want to thank our patrons with horror, those fine people that give us $5 every month and get to hear some exclusive episodes on our Patreon.
Thank you.
We have, Andrew
Thank
thanks
you.
you too.
Yes, I also would like to thank you all.
It's just going to be me this whole episode. I'm going to talk for you.
Honestly, I could.
Andrew
listen
said
to that
he
one.
likes this movie. He wants me to tell everybody that Mia, anyway.
Yeah. I'd listen to it.
Would you?
I would.
We have a new review.
Yes, we do.
Would you like to read our new review, Andrew?
I wouldn't like to read it.
What? No, okay.
I'd love to read it.
Oh, look at you.
See what I did there? I know. All right. This is lovely. This is from Mama Frijole, and the title is So Happy I Found This. And Mama says, I love scary movies, but I'm a total wimp. I love how these folks describe the plots and details. I can't handle the suspense or surprises. I like to be prepared before watching a scary movie. Thanks. Aww, that's so sweet. I love that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mama Frijole.
Thank you, Mama Frijole.
That's amazing. I love that.
I know, that's so sweet. I love it. Those reviews, man, they're just like, what a way to start the day. Like, I love seeing that. That's just makes me happy.
Yeah, or a way to end the day if you read it at the end of the day before you go to bed.
It could even be a great way to, like, middle of the day. If you're like, I just ate lunch, I could sure go for a review.
I do love the middle of the day feeling.
Me too.
You know what I don't love, buddy?
Uh-oh, what don't you love?
Flies.
Well, okay.
Man, 2 Sundays ago. 2 Sundays ago. It was the Amityville Horror up in my crib.
Oh, no.
Yeah, man.
Oh, no.
I came home from getting some Taco Bell.
Nice.
I sat down at my computer here, and all of a sudden I see a couple flies flying around my lamp next to me. And then I see a couple more. And man, I spent so much time that night and then even the next night just killing flies with envelopes. Like I used my junk mail and I was just like slamming them on the wall. And then I cleaned the wall. So there's no evidence, although I can probably see a few pieces of evidence. But man, it was crazy.
Wild. Did any of your cupboards or anything open up or furniture move or?
No.
Well, that's good.
No. And a windowsill didn't fall on my fingers.
Well, I forgot about that. Yeah, that's fair.
Dude,
God.
I saw the Amityville Horror when I was a kid, and I think I've said this before, but out of everything in that movie, the window slamming down on his fingers, that bothered me more than anything. That haunted me my entire life.
I mean, that's pretty gruesome, though. That's, yeah, I would agree with you. It's pretty gnarly, man.
You know what else is going on, buddy?
What? Tell me.
Beyond Fest.
Yeah, awesome, dude.
Yeah. So last episode, I mentioned some stuff that I was going to be seeing for Beyond Fest, and I've attended 2 screenings so far as we record this.
And
let me tell you, buddy, I've seen some movies. I've seen some stuff. Wednesday night, I saw the new Salem's Lot.
Oh, that's right.
The new adaptation.
And you're a King fan, so I'm very curious your thoughts.
Well, I wrote a review on Letterboxd, so you're going to have to read it. I'm not going to tell you. Just kidding. I'm going to tell you.
Yeah. All right.
I'm going to, in a nutshell.
Yeah.
That was opening night of Beyond Fest. It was the first screening.
Sweet.
Energy was high in that theater. It was at the Aero Theater in Santa Monica, and the theater was packed. Every seat taken. I'm going to say, in all honesty, I don't think people are going to love this movie.
Okay.
Although I hope I'm wrong. I had a great time. And a lot of the people in the theater had a great time. It's a fun movie. There are a lot of fun elements. In fact, the movie is actually much funnier than I expected.
Oh, okay.
But there's also a lot of really cool, creepy visuals that have to do with the vampires and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely worth watching. It's going to be on Max, I think October 2nd, this week, maybe.
Nice.
I think. Just look up the date. Yeah, I don't know. I had fun, and I think it had a lot to do with the audience.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely felt like a TV movie.
Okay.
I didn't feel like I was watching a theatrical release, even though I was in a theater.
Right. Well, and it was made for, so I mean, that makes sense. It was made for streaming or whatever.
Yeah. Well, no, it was made, and then...
Oh, okay.
Evil Zaslav over at Warner Brothers decided we're going to just put it right to Max. We're not going to release it in theaters.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, anyway, last night I saw another movie.
Yeah.
I saw Hush.
Mm-hmm.
And this was the Shush edit, which I'll explain real quick. Mike Flanagan, director of Hush, his original vision for the movie was to have it in black and white.
Cool.
And so when they were getting ready to do the new Shout Factory Blu-ray that is coming out in, I believe, November, this was his opportunity to say, hey, do you think we could do the black and white version and put it on this Blu-ray along with the color version? And they were like, yeah, of course. So while they were doing this, they ended up watching, like they're watching it to see how it looks and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And all they had was a special effects track, and they're like, no, don't worry. The sound is all there. This is just a guide track that we have playing right now.
Mm-hmm.
And Flanagan was talking about it last night, and he was like, yeah, so at first it was weird, but then about 20 minutes later, we're like, man, this is great. So basically, long story short, the Shush version is the black and white version of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
With almost all of the music ripped out of it. The rest of the mix, the special effects, or the sound effects, and the dialogue has all been remixed by a sound mixer.
Cool. That's cool.
I don't know if I've talked about it too much, but when I first saw the movie back when it first came out on Netflix, I thought it was okay. I didn't think it was great. But this new version, man, I thought it was fantastic.
Nice. Because I had the same thoughts as you when I first saw it. I was like, okay. I mean, it's fine. So I'm very curious to see this version, especially now that I've started to understand Mike Flanagan and enjoy his work. So I want to go back and revisit it. I think that'll be fun.
And you've been enjoying his work on our Patreon.
Ooh, you're right.
As we're going through the Haunting of Hill House series.
Yes.
We are 3 episodes into that. We've got 7 to go, which we'll get to when we get to them.
Yeah.
The other cool thing is that Mike Flanagan and Kate Siegel were both there for a Q&A. And of all people, Brian Fuller
right? Yeah.
was the moderator and he is hilarious. I had no idea. He came out and he was funny as hell. I was
That's
like, oh my
awesome.
God, this is the guy that created the Hannibal TV series. This is amazing.
but also pushing daisies, which was funny, and so I'm like, I get it. That's cool. That's awesome, dude. I love it.
You know, two things that he wasn't.
What?
He wasn't evil, and he wasn't dead. That was the worst segue ever.
David, when she breaks, and believe me, she will, we don't want to let her leave.
What do you mean? You want to force her to stay here? Mia.
Evil Dead was directed by Fede Alvarez and was written by Fede Alvarez, Rodo Sayagues, and Sam Raimi. And it stars Jane Levy as Mia, Shiloh Fernandez as David, Jessica Lucas as Olivia, Lou Taylor Pucci as Eric, and hopefully I'm saying that right, I apologize if I'm not, and Elizabeth Blackmore as Natalie, as well as some other people. But we'll talk about all that in a bit.
Yeah, Andrew.
Yeah.
Let's talk about why you picked this movie.
Let's talk about why I picked this movie. Okay, so as people know, I will be coming to visit you soon, and we are going to be going to Monsterpalooza. Hooray.
Son of Monsterpalooza.
Excuse me, you're right, I apologize. Son of Monsterpalooza. And there's some photo opportunities there. And so I said, I'll get a photo. That'd be fun. Us wearing like our Fun with Horror shirts, get a fun photo. And of course, there's a lot of people, but I wanted to get one with Bruce Campbell. How awesome! He was sold out. He was sold out immediately. But there was a great one with Bruce Campbell and Jane Levy, who's Mia in the movie we're going to discuss today. And I was like, perfect. I think she's great as well. She's been on a few shows that I've really loved. So I was like, that's a wonderful idea. So we'll get that. So I got it. And then the other night I get an email that just says, refund. And I go, what? What is that about? And I go on Son of Monsterpalooza and I see that Jane Levy has canceled being at Son of Monsterpalooza. To be fair, she is pregnant and I think she's due very soon. So I think that's why.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I went, okay, well. But, I mean, that was the reason I picked Evil Dead, because we were going to go meet with her, get our picture with her. I said, that's perfect. We'll do Evil Dead. So, oops. However, this is definitely a horror Halloween-esque movie. So I'm still happy I picked it. And I love that it's going to be, in our the first October episode. So I'm fine with it. But
it's the start of our October episodes.
Yes, exactly. And I mean, it's we're starting with a bang.
That's a good story, Andrew.
Thank you. Thanks.
I've got a Fun with Horror factoid for you.
Ooh, okay.
So, as people might know, up until our 2-year anniversary, our main rule was that whoever picked our next movie had to pick a movie that he'd never seen.
Right.
And then we got rid of that rule so that we could pick whatever we wanted. Did you know, Andrew, that since that rule change, this is only the second movie that one of us has picked that both of us had already seen?
Is that right?
Yeah. Trick or Treat is the other one.
Nice. But didn't we do... Oh, yeah, okay. That's right. Yeah.
No,
okay.
I went through every episode. And
wow.
Of all the episodes that you and I have done together...
Right.
Yeah. Every episode... At least one of us hadn't seen the movie.
Wow, that's wild.
But this time, both of us had seen it. Now, I'm curious, Andrew, you rewatched it, right?
Yes. And you and I both rewatched the unrated
Yes, we watched the unrated version. But, I know you picked this movie because you like it. Tell me what your history with this movie is and what you thought of it this time.
Honestly, I think I'd only seen it once before. But I love the Evil Dead franchise. I think they're fun, crazy, some very dark movies, but they're such a cool, and I love Raimi, so I think they're just a kind of a good time. But again, this was one I was excited to watch because I do love the series, but I'd only seen this one once, so it was like a perfect opportunity to watch it. And
what did you think about it the first time you saw it?
I liked it. I liked it a lot. I remember thinking, even back then, I was like, wow, that was dark. Like, it was pretty dark. Because I feel like at the time I'd been more, and I guess, if you watch, Evil Dead 2 or Army of Darkness, there's a lot more humor in those with Bruce and the writing. And then this one, there's like no humor. There's nothing super funny in this one. I love that it's all in the same universe, but this one's so much darker, and I liked that about it. And then rewatching it this time, it's so good, man. I love this movie. It is so good. Yeah, I had a great time watching it. I don't think I watched the unrated one before, but I don't remember what I would have missed from it, what was added. But yeah, this is a wild ride, man. But what about you, buddy? Because you've seen it.
Well, yeah. Now this is probably the third time I've seen this movie.
Okay.
The first time I saw it, and I think I remember what theater I was in when I watched it.
Wow.
And I may have seen it with somebody else, but I have this weird feeling that I saw it by myself, but
Okay.
I can't remember. Oh, maybe I saw it. I don't know. This came out in 2013. I might have seen this in North Carolina.
Oh.
I remember feeling like there were things I didn't care for.
Oh, okay.
And then I was like, it was okay. It was good, but there was some stuff that just, I don't know.
Right.
And then years later, everybody was talking about this movie, and that's kind of recent in the past couple of years, where people are talking about the best horror remakes, and this is always at the top of the list. This and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Wow. Okay. Right on.
Those are usually the two mentioned. And then some people who have seen it will mention the Fright Night remake and say, hey, that was actually pretty good, guys.
That was actually pretty good.
I'd have to really look at the remakes and see what's what. I think this is probably one of the best. I definitely like it a lot more now than I did the first time I saw it.
Yeah.
I watched it once to prepare just as extra credit preparation for Evil Dead Rise when we did that one.
Yep.
Now, the cool thing about this one is that when I watched this, the one thing it did do is made me want to just travel through the Evil Dead universe.
Yeah. Yes, for sure. Yes.
I think the next night I watched Evil Dead 2, and I hadn't seen that since I was a teenager.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Yeah,
okay.
I don't know if I saw it since then, and I totally forgot about it. I saw that before I ever saw the original Evil Dead, and then over the years, I ended up seeing the original Evil Dead more than I ever saw Evil Dead 2 again. I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird thing.
I'd be so curious to know your thoughts back then of the first one, because the second one's kind of has a recap because of the rights and all that crap. So
yeah, no, I mean, I don't know. I don't
Interesting.
remember.
Yeah.
I remember I watched Evil Dead 2 over and over. It was one of those movies that I rented and then I couldn't get enough of back then.
Yeah.
I remember I felt I was watching something extreme that I wasn't supposed to be watching.
Yeah, that's fair.
And now I watch it and it's so silly.
It is. Yeah, it is.
But it's a super fun time. But I really wanted to revisit that and see what they had really remade in this one. Honestly, one of the best parts about rewatching it was noticing all of the things that they threw back to in this remake. So, which we'll talk about.
Yeah, for sure. Well, yeah.
But before we go further, buddy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
let's warn everybody that we are about to spoil Evil Dead 2013.
Yes.
This might also, just because it's a remake, contain spoilers for Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2. So,
yeah.
But mostly we're going to spoil Evil Dead 2013.
Yeah. I don't think we'll discuss Evil Dead Rise.
No.
I don't think.
Not at all.
Yeah.
We're not going to spoil it.
Yeah. But if you are curious about that one, go back and listen to our episode. Plug.
Okay, Andrew.
Yes.
I have my lucky virtual 20-sided die. I'm going to ask you to tell me when to stop rolling it on my iPhone. And wherever it stops, if it's odd, you're doing the 3-minute recap. If it's even, I'm going to do it. So you just tell me when to stop there, buddy.
Go ahead and stop right now.
18, I'm doing it.
My
God.
Man. And just as a reminder, everyone, we do not, this is kind of a spur of the moment type of thing. So
yeah, and actually both of us usually forget about it until we
always
get to it.
Yep, always. That's why I was like, oh no, but
I'm
sorry,
like, oh
buddy.
man, I don't. Okay, here we go.
This one's gonna be interesting. And remember, you got 3 minutes. Fair warning, I did find a really creepy book kind of under our house the other day. I read some
cool.
weird stuff from it, and I heard some voices that said, over 3 minutes and he will die. I don't know. So I would suggest doing under 3 minutes. Not sure why, but just try it.
What was that book called, Andrew?
The Necromancer?
Okay.
Is that what it's called?
I love the improv, buddy. The Necromancer, yes. That's exactly what the book...
Necronomicon or whatever.
There you go.
There you go. Sorry,
buddy.
I forgot. Oh, gosh. It's morning, just so everyone knows, all right? Come on.
It's always morning somewhere in the world.
Whatever.
Especially in Australia, where we have some very kind listeners.
Aw. Thanks, Australia.
I got you for 3 minutes. 3 minutes of playtime.
But anyway, Evil Dead opens up in a scene that I somehow always forget is in this movie every time I start to watch it. And even when I talk about it, I always forget this scene is in the movie where there is a guy and he's taken down to a cellar where his daughter is tied and bound, and there's some weird people there. They're telling him he's got to burn her alive, and she says, "Daddy, don't do it." But then all of a sudden she turns into a demon, and he burns her alive because she's a demon. Jump into the present time. We meet a group of young people, and they are gathering at this interesting-looking cabin in the woods. And they're gathering there because Mia is going to quit drugs, and it seems like she's got a heroin addiction, and she pours it all down the well. At this meeting, I'm going to try and remember all the names. We've got her brother, David. He is there with his girlfriend, and his girlfriend's name is Natalie. We also have Olivia and David. I think that's it, right?
Yep.
Just five
and
of
then
them?
Mia,
Yeah.
of course. Yeah, just
And
five.
then Mia. So they're all there. David is kind of, I don't know, he's kind of reluctant to be there. He's not taking this very seriously at first. He thinks, I think he thinks that she's not going to be able to do it, and that he's just there to take her home when she says, "I'm done." Anyway, she throws her drugs down, and then they end up smelling something, and they pull back the carpet, and there's a blood trail leading to this basement trap door. They go down in the basement. They find all these dead cats hanging from the ceiling. They also find something wrapped in plastic and barbed wire. Smart boy Eric takes that to his room and he unwraps it, and it turns out to be the Necronomicon. It's the Book of the Dead, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, Eric reads aloud these words, which we're going to talk about. He reads them aloud, and that summons the demon in the woods. The demon comes, it enters Mia's body, and then Mia gets sick. She ends up in the shower where she burns herself with scalding hot water. They try to take her away because she's obviously sick. And as David is driving her away, or as she's driving away, there's a girl in the middle of the road. Oh, man, I'm getting all of this backwards, by the way, everybody. But yeah, so Mia leaves after she gets possessed. No preparation, man.
Hey, you're good, dude. We're getting there. We'll talk more about it anyway.
So the movie opens with this flashback. No, so Mia's trying to leave. All of a sudden, there's a girl in her path, and it's like Demon Mia, and she swerves the car, crashes the car, and then she gets pulled through the woods by these branches. She gets caught in them, and one branch goes up her hoo-ha, and now she's possessed by a demon. So now they're back in the cabin, and as I was saying, she's showing signs of demonic possession. She scalds herself with hot water. David tries to take her away, but now the bridge is out because the river is flooded. Long story short, this demon starts to present itself because it's got to kill 5 souls. It's got to take 5 souls to unleash itself upon the world. And so one by one, first it does this horrible thing with Olivia, where it makes her carve her face off. And then she stabs Eric a bunch of times with a hypodermic needle, which was my dream scene. And then what else happens? Natalie gets possessed, and her arm gets possessed, her hand, and she uses an electric meat cutter to cut off her arm, which is a very nice scene. And then she shoots herself with a nail gun while also shooting David and Eric, and she finally just dies. Eric, he endures a lot of stuff. He finally dies after Demon Mia stabs him with a box cutter. And then he comes back later as a demon and they burn him alive. David finally, he realizes there's 3 ways to end Mia's demonic possession. Burning her alive, dismembering her entire body, or burying her alive. He buries her alive. Then he pulls her back out and he uses a makeshift shock pad to bring her back to life. And it seems like everything's okay. So he goes back in to get the keys, and Demon David is back. Demon Eric is back, and he stabs David in the neck. And then the house is on fire somehow, I forget, and he gets burned alive. Anyway, then all of a sudden, because now the demon now has enough souls, it comes back, and this abomination woman comes out of the ground. There's a final sequence with this abomination and Mia. Mia ends up chainsawing the abomination in half, and we'll talk about all that because it's a crazy ass scene.
Yeah.
But yeah, Mia chainsaws the abomination in half, and that's the end of the movie. Well, how does it end after that?
Well, there's two.
No, but how does the movie end? Is that it?
That's
the sun
it.
comes
Yeah.
up.
No, yeah,
the sun comes up.
The blood rain stops. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, we'll talk about the extra scenes. There's a couple extra scenes in this. The first extra scene is really dumb.
I agree.
What is that one?
She gets picked up. She's walking down the street, and the guy picks her up and puts her in the pickup, and then her eyes open. But it's dumb. It was dumb.
It was a dumb scene.
Yeah.
And then there's mid credits. There's a really cool little moment where all of a sudden there's Bruce Campbell, Ash, and he looks up and he goes groovy.
Yeah.
And then that's the end of that, and that makes no sense either. But okay,
It doesn't. Not at all.
but we love it because it's Bruce and it's Ash, and that's it, buddy. That's a 3-minute recap.
Well, fortunately, you did it. I mean, you just made it under 3 minutes, and I was
Thank goodness.
as you were doing it, I was looking out the window and I saw my 2-year-old. He was actually burying the Necronomicon. So I think you're fine. I think you're going to be okay. He buried it. So we're good.
What's really cool is that everybody listening to this can picture like the camera like going through, like going, whoa, like towards my apartment. Whoa. And then right as it reaches me, I finish the 3-minute recap and it leaves.
That was perfect. Oh, man. Yep. That's exactly what I was thinking. Oh, so good. Oh
man. So yeah.
Yeah. Jeez, buddy.
So this movie, has some gore in it.
A little.
I think that's one thing that I didn't care for the first time I saw it. I just thought it was like trying too hard to. I mean, it's not exactly torture porn, but it's got that kind of those kinds of scenes in it, that kind of bodily harm.
I get you. Yeah.
And yeah, I think the first time I saw it, I thought it was trying a little too hard to do that. I thought that there were some stupid human moments, which I still kind of think there are, because we're going to talk about Eric.
Gosh, Eric. Man.
What an idiot.
Yeah. Has he never seen any movie ever? Idiot.
Do you think the one character, the guy in X, remember X?
Yeah, of course.
Remember the cameraman boyfriend or the sound guy?
Yeah.
No, he was the cameraman. He was the cinematographer.
Yeah.
I always think him and Eric are like the same character.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
Because he's also got like the long 70s blonde hair.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Then the beard. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about Eric for a second, because
let's talk about Eric.
Lou Taylor Pucci did a fantastic job. Okay, he's a good actor.
Right. I agree. Yep.
But my God, Eric was the most annoying character.
Yeah, I agree.
He just seems like an a-hole from the very beginning, from the opening moment. So, I mean, am I wrong?
No, I would agree with you. Yeah, he's kind of just he's annoying. That's a really good way to say it. He's just kind of annoying.
I think that's a fault of this movie, because I don't think he's supposed to be as annoying as he comes across.
I agree. I almost think that he was supposed to be because I mean, he's kind of the one that's like, no, this isn't a sickness. This is like a demon, or whatever, and I feel like he was supposed to be the one that figures things out, which he does, kinda, but he's also just annoying.
I like a lot of the changes that they made to make this a more grounded in reality movie,
Right.
or as grounded in reality as a demon possession movie can be. But I miss the other movies. All the other movies, I think, have a recording that reads the famous words from the Book of the Dead. That makes so much more sense to me than some guy that, for some unknown reason, is compelled to open this freaky ass book that's in a basement full of dead cats and somehow figure out that there are words like embedded in these pages. He has to use a pencil scratching to show them. Like, I was like, okay, wow, good job, dude.
Yeah.
But why are you going to all this trouble? Like, stop.
Agreed. No, that's pretty weird.
And then who sits there and reads stuff like that out loud?
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, okay, you have to give this movie a little bit of like disbelief, you know?
Yep.
A little bit of suspension of disbelief. Yeah, that part, it bothers me every time.
Yeah, that is pretty, like, and I've done that before with stuff where you trace a pencil and stuff, but I don't think I would have really, in that situation, have done that. I think I would have just been like, this is a really creepy book, and then close it up and be done with it.
Especially with the dead cats and the whole cellar. Like, if it was just the book, because I'm thinking from the point of view of somebody who has, like in real life, would you open a book and be like, oh, I'm going to get possessed by a real demon?
No,
you
of
know,
course
because
not.
a lot of people have never seen a demon possession in real life and don't believe in it.
Right.
I don't know, man.
No, I get you. And that's why I said, has he never seen a movie? Because he does all the things.
For me, there was no redeeming moments for him, except for maybe at the end, him trying to help David.
Right.
In fact, there's a moment where they're sitting in this room after Mia gets brought back from being manhandled by the trees.
Yeesh. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a part where Eric is sitting there and he goes, everything's been getting worse every second. And I wrote a note and I said, yeah, it's because of you, dumbass, and you know it. Like, you opened this book, you stupid.
Yeah. Yep.
And you read out loud. Like, who does that? Who reads out loud to themselves like that? Like, I don't know. If I'm looking at a book and I see some interesting words, do I sit there and I go, Kunda? Tranquilo?
Right.
You know, what? I forget what the words are.
Yeah, no, exactly. No, that's a super good point, man. Yeah, no one does that.
But on the flip side,
yeah,
I've watched this movie a couple times now, and I don't think anybody in this movie suffers as much physical pain as Eric does.
I thought the same thing. Every time he comes out with like a new wound, I'm like, oh, this guy, like, dude.
Like, he survives all these attacks, but he gets messed up in the process.
Yep.
I love it.
Yep. And I did think that too. I was like, well, that's what you get.
That's what you get, pal.
That's what you get.
I mean, first he gets a hypodermic needle like stabbed in his face like 20 times.
Yep. And almost in the eye. Oof.
Almost in the eye. The needle's embedded in his eye or below his
glasses.
eye.
Yeah. Yeah. Oof.
And then what happens? And then, and that is after he slips on a piece of her facial skin.
Oh, so gross.
And hits his back on the toilet, which I think he did his own stunt, and that looked painful as hell.
It really did. I mean, I think we've all tripped at some point and hit something, and that did look brutal. That actually hurt me while watching it.
Absolutely. What else happens to him?
Oh man, who does he go to next? Because he gets like 5 things happen to him.
I think the next is Natalie after she's cut off her arm and she comes in as a demon and she's got the nail gun.
Yes.
She shoots him in the hand and arm with a bunch of nails. Yeah.
To his shoulder. It's brutal.
Oh man, that was great.
It was great. That scene actually that's a horrifying scene, but we'll talk about it.
Oh, absolutely. I think the last thing is getting stabbed in the neck by Mia.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm forgetting something. I just remember that he just kept enduring pain after pain.
The first thing No, he gets doesn't he get stabbed somewhere else? They put tape on him. David puts tape on his chest. Oh, he gets stabbed with glass.
Glass? Well,
Isn't
there's
it-
a crowbar
or the
as
window
well.
or something?
The crowbar. Doesn't he get
how
like
it
his
is?
hand split open by the crowbar?
Yes. Oh, yes. Oh, gosh. Yes. That's right.
And he gets his head hit with the crowbar too.
Yep. That's with the Natalie scene. But before that, he gets stabbed. I think when he slips in the bathroom, she stabs him with the needles, and then doesn't she grab the mirror? A chunk of the mirror and
she
stabs him in the chest and his heart.
Yeah.
And then
Oh.
David puts the tape. Yeah, he gets it bad in this, man. He gets it bad.
Good.
You're
Good.
right. Again, that's what you get.
That also brought up another pet peeve I have in movies that I think I've brought up before in an old episode. And that is,
Which one?
has anybody out there ever picked up a crowbar? Do you know how heavy a crowbar is?
Yeah.
If you hit somebody once, even twice with a crowbar,
Yeah.
they're out of commission. But yes,
Yes.
somehow she's able to hit David multiple
lot.
times with a crowbar, and he's still able to walk around. I was like, no, come on.
Yeah. And split his hand in half with said crowbar.
Wait, that was David? I thought that was Eric.
Oh, David. Oh, David. Well,
David.
you're right. Sorry.
David got
but-
no. Eric got hit
Right.
and
Right.
actually almost knocked his senses out. Like he almost
Right.
got killed by the crowbar.
That's true.
But then Eric comes back,
yeah. Yeah.
and
that's
Demon
what I'm
Eric
saying.
is burned alive. So yeah,
Yeah.
that guy
It's
went
a
through
lot.
it.
Yeah. He definitely. It was a rough day for that guy.
So I love this opening, even though I always forget that it's there.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Is that a weird thing, or do you always like when you start watching this movie? When you started watching this movie last week or whatever,
hmm
did you go like, "Oh, the opening"?
No,
or did
not
you
at all. I
like
was like, whoa, I forgot about this.
exactly? Why
Yeah.
is that? I wonder why that is.
I don't know, because it's a pretty memorable opening. Like, it's not boring or anything. I don't know, man. I guess maybe for me, the thing I remembered most was the climax. Like, that scene.
Yeah, for sure.
And so maybe I think that kind of overtook everything else. I don't know. But the opening's pretty intense, man.
No, I think you're onto something. I think not just the climax, but a lot of things that happen in this movie
Mm-hmm.
just kind of overtake that intro, even though it's a great intro.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Agreed.
There's a bunch of people standing watching
Mm-hmm.
who we never really know who those people are.
Right.
Just
That's true.
woods people, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
There was one person with heavily scarred skin.
Mm-hmm.
That person is really like that. They talked
Oh,
about
right.
him in the commentary. Evidently, this guy has survived not one, but 2 plane crashes.
Whoa.
Yeah. Can you imagine that? Like being in a second plane crash after surviving one?
Oh gosh, I would never fly again. Holy
yeah,
crap.
right. Why are you flying the second time?
Yeah, for real. Jeez.
But yeah,
Oh,
I
that's
guess
wild.
I guess all of his burn scars are from that.
Wow. I bet he has some stories. Holy moly. Anyway.
Yeah, so this movie.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
No.
There's so much to talk about, but yet I don't know where to start.
I know. Well, I mean, the intro is great. We can start there with all the woods people, the dad. It's an intense scene. There's the girl tied up, sort of almost like a witch at the stake, and they
Yeah.
douse her with gasoline so you know it's coming. But then I don't even know if you'd call it a twist, but I mean, kind of.
It's absolutely a twist.
Kind of like you said, there's these woods people with kind of just, I don't know, different outfits on. Then there's a guy there with this girl that's chained up or tied up. He's in a suit or, a nice button up. And you're like, well, he's out of place. And then we realize that he is the father of the girl that's tied up. And she's saying like, Dad, help me or whatever. And then she's like, where's mom? Where's mom? And he's like, you killed mom. Then she kind of eventually turns into her demon voice and says, I don't even remember. She says something horrible. And
yeah.
He's the one that douses her, I think, with gasoline and then lights her on fire. She's screaming and laughing. And then he shoots her in the face with a shotgun and blows her head right off. And then Evil Dead. It's an intro. It's an
Great
intro.
opening title card.
I will say, man, Evil Dead knows how to do a title card. This Evil Dead Rise had a great title card. I'm like, I'm on board, man. They know how to do a title.
Evil Dead Rise is one of the best title cards ever.
Agreed. Amazing.
And then we're introduced to Mia and the whole coming down off of drugs. And let me just tell you, buddy, knowing what this movie has in store for everybody, I'm just like, every time I watch the beginning of this movie, I'm like, holy crap, like this poor girl. Like, I can't imagine, first of all, the hell of coming down off of an addiction like that.
Right.
But then also facing demonic possession at the same time. Like, wow.
Yeah. And, I mean, you do get that little bit at the beginning, too, of like, because she sees, obviously, things that are going on, and everyone, it's that, we've seen it in movies, too, where things happen, they're like, well, it's because, you know, in this case, it's because she's coming off drugs. These are all hallucinations. She's not really seeing it, and you're like, but she is seeing it, you fools. You know, we've seen it, but I'm like, it works. I'm okay with it. It works.
It works in this movie. It's realistic.
Yeah, exactly.
It's frustrating, but it's realistic.
Right. Exactly. And one thing I did like is, I mean, obviously she's there to get clean, and it's going to be a hell of a 3 days. But I like that they did do this where they went to a cabin in the woods, kind of this, she's away from everything. There is no one nearby. I was like, I get that. That makes sense. It is going to be a really rough 3 days, but if they really want to kind of stop this, I mean, it's a place for it. It's a place away from people. It's a place away from some of those maybe connections she has. So I was on board for the setup. I was like, that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
You
and
know?
all the characters made sense as well. I mean, the one thing that you start to understand right away is that it seems like these are her friends.
Right.
Eric and Olivia are her friends that live near her wherever she is.
Right.
And David is her brother, but I feel like David lives somewhere else and hasn't seen his sister in a while.
Yeah, for sure. And then his girlfriend, who...
Yeah, and his girlfriend, that's one thing that they talked about in the commentary. The girlfriend was kind of it was a good way of explaining David's character.
Okay.
The fact that he would bring his girlfriend to this shows how not seriously he's taking it.
Good point. I like that. That's good.
And Eric and Olivia are sitting there going, no, you got to understand, she almost died. You know, she OD'd and she was actually dead for a small amount of time.
Right.
So this is serious, you know, blah, blah, blah. But can I just say one thing, buddy?
Nope.
It's another complaint.
Uh-oh, please. Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever said this before on the podcast, but you don't have to kill the family pet to make your movie scary. There's no point in killing the dog.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I was thinking you were talking to the cats at the beginning. I was like, we didn't see them.
No, the cats were fine because they were like obviously fake. And I didn't.
Oh, yeah.
But the dog, it's like, that poor guy. And he served no purpose. No purpose whatsoever at all.
Yep.
Because we don't even they don't even go back to it at all. Like having Mia's demon admit that it killed the dog or something.
That's true.
It's just they find the dog and you're like, oh, that's sad.
Yeah.
And that's all it is just sad. And, you know, oh, yeah, Mia did it. Well, yeah, we know she's possessed. We know it's a demon. Yeah. We don't need to see her killing a dog to understand that she's a demon.
Right. True.
All we need to do is see her in a shower under scalding hot water as it burns her flesh away.
Yeah, that was brutal. But yeah, I get you. Yeah, I agree.
I'm starting to think of critiques, buddy, and I got another question for you.
Please, man. That's why we do it. Come on.
Usually you have a question for me, but I'm going to ask you.
Okay.
Mia burns some of the flesh of her face away.
Yes.
She also takes some other wounds as the movie moves on. After David buries her alive and brings her back to life, and this demon is supposedly gone from her body.
Right.
Why does she have no scars whatsoever?
It's a good question. Yeah, she should have some. Because it's not like it's not, I feel like it's not like the, like Exorcist or something, you know, where it's, she got him because of the possession, you know, she got him because of things that were happening, you know, from the possession, yes, but it was still doing it to her body.
Yeah. From outside sources, like
exactly
scalding hot water. It wasn't a demon making her flesh on her face look burned off. No, it was actually extremely hot water burning her flesh away.
I agree with you. Yeah, you're right.
That always got to me. But then
Yeah.
you kind of forgive the movie because then the end of the movie just goes so crazy. And
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, one of the greatest horror movie ending sequences ever.
It's pretty awesome, man. It's so much blood.
So while I have these critiques of this movie, they don't necessarily ruin the movie.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, the dog didn't ruin the movie for me, really.
Right.
It was just
Right.
it's just a scene that's not needed at all.
Right.
And just yet another, like, why are you killing a dog? Like, why are you doing that? There's no
Right.
point. The movie's already scary.
In all honesty, they didn't even need to bring the dog. Like, I mean,
Exactly.
yeah, I agree. Unless it served some weird purpose, but again, it didn't in this. So, yeah, I agree.
R.I.P. Grandpa. That was the dog's name. Grandpa.
That's right, yeah.
So, what I will say I liked is, especially after rewatching Evil Dead 2, realizing all of the little homages.
Yeah, lay it on me, man. Lay me.
Well, I don't know if I have them all written down, but I have a lot, I think. Obviously, the first big one is Mia sitting on Ash's car.
Yes.
Behind the house. And a lot of people have used that as a way of saying that this happens in the same universe timeline as the original Evil Dead. That this cabin was here and Ash went through all that he went through and the car was left there and now it's their turn, you know?
Right. Yep.
Which is a fun little exercise.
I actually do put this one in the same universe. I do.
Okay.
I don't make this in my mind at least, I don't make it a remake. I make it a sequel.
Interesting.
Yeah, which I think if you did this Evil Dead and Evil Dead Rise and created like a new group, if you will, without spoiling the other ones, like a new, group of heroes, maybe, I think would be really fun. I think
That would be
a really
fun.
Cool movie.
The necklace that David gives Mia is the same necklace that Ash gave Linda in the original.
Nice. Yep.
That was one. There is a shot of a big grandfather clock. I believe it's a grandfather clock, but it's a clock at the beginning of the movie. That is not only an homage to the original, that is the same clock from the original movie.
That's awesome. That's cool.
Yeah, that was really, really cool.
That's really cool.
And then there's a bunch of other ones, just like, the basement. Mia, when Natalie is cutting off her possessed hand.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then Mia her head's outside of the basement trapdoor.
Yeah.
And watching her. That was I love that scene.
That's so good.
Yeah. Oh, the other stupid thing. After all of the talk, this one bothers me every time. After all of the talk of we're not going to let Mia leave this time. After all of that talk, they just leave the keys right there so that Mia can just get the keys and drive away. Like, really? You're not going to hide the car keys if you want to keep Mia there?
Solid point, dude. Yep.
You guys are the worst group of, what do you call it?
Acquaintances?
Intervention people. Ay.
Well, to be fair, I think it was Eric that had the keys and he's an idiot. So, you know what?
Yeah. We don't like
Screw
Eric. Once again, we like the actor. We like Lou Taylor Pucci, but we don't like Eric. Yeah. Eric playing with the cards on the porch. He's like just playing with some cards as like something to do with his hands. That was an homage to the original.
Oh, catch that one.
Yeah, because there's some playing cards in the original movie.
Okay. Well, the whole ending moment, the chainsaw.
Right. Yes.
Mia loses her hand and then uses the chainsaw.
Let's talk about that, but first let's talk about the tree. The tree scene.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, geez. Yeah.
So the original movie is famous for having a scene in which a girl gets fondled by trees, to put it lightly.
Yes. Yeah.
They not only continued that in this movie, but they made it so much worse.
Oh, completely worse. Yeah, that was brutal. And I don't know if that was because this was unrated. I honestly don't remember what the original, or if that was from the original.
Yeah, I don't remember either. I think the commentary was part of the original, so I think that scene's still in there.
Yeesh. Dang.
I'm not sure what the unrated. I should have looked it up. I did not do my research, Andrew. I'm terrible. I am terrible at this.
Honestly, I didn't want to say anything, but since you said it first.
I am nothing without you.
Stop.
Let's talk about some of the brutal stuff in this movie, though.
Yeah. Oh, is there some?
Yeah, there's a few. Tree rape scene. Okay, that's number one.
Yeah, definitely. Yes.
Let's talk about Natalie. No, not Natalie. Olivia. Olivia getting stopped in the room before the whole like cutting her face off. Getting stopped in the room and peeing herself. Like I've seen actors pee themselves in movies or characters, not the actors, but characters in movies like, urinate on themselves. This is the most disgusting self-urination ever.
I would agree. I you know what I thought? I was like, you need more water.
Yeah. They said that in the commentary.
Really?
They're like, well, she's been taking her vitamins. Yeah, because the commentary was Fede Alvarez, Rodo Sayagues, Jane Levy, Jessica Lucas, who played Olivia, and Lou Taylor Pucci, who played Eric.
Oh, that's a sweet one. That's cool.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I absolutely recommend listening to the commentary.
Nice.
But the scene, oh my God, dude. The scene when Eric comes into the bathroom and the lights are off.
Yes.
And you know kind of what's happening, because one thing I do love is how the book foreshadows everything that's going to happen to everybody.
Yes.
Like it foretells. I shouldn't say foreshadow. It foretells what's going to happen to these people.
Mm-hmm.
And when you hear her cutting away at her face with a piece of broken glass, and then when you see it, like this movie is like the best type of cringe movie. You're just cringing the entire time, right?
Yeah. One thing I wanted to say too is because we see her, she's like curled up in the shower. And I had when I was watching it, I was like, oh, I'm getting such Resident Evil 1 video game vibes when we first see the first zombie. And it's like, and then it gives the look. I was like, ooh, I like it.
Very true. Good one.
Yeah, thanks, man.
And now's a great time to bring up the fact that they really went out of their way to try and make everything in this movie practical.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Again, in the commentary, one of the things they joked about is that one of the only CGI scenes is when they go down into the basement and there's all the flies in the basement. Those flies are CG.
Oh, that's amazing.
That's it. I think Fede mentioned that they may have enhanced a couple things with a little bit of computer graphics, but everything is almost all practical.
That's really cool. Because she looked rough. She looked bad with that face, her mouth, teeth showing, like, oh, brutal. That's really cool. It
was amazing.
Practical. That's awesome.
What about Natalie?
Oh, yeah, dude. Oh, dude.
Tell me about Natalie.
Oh man, poor Natalie. So Natalie gets bit by Mia. Oh, that was so gross too. So then Natalie at one point, she's in the kitchen and she has like the bite mark on her hand. It's black. Like there's like black liquid in it. And she like starts squeezing out these like black ball things that are it's so gross. Like it's so gross.
They were supposed to be worms coming out, but I forget why they said they didn't end up using actual worms as the things that are coming out of her wound. But yeah, I think the black things worked just as well.
Yeah, it was, and it looked so good. Like again, just if that's just practical effects, that's awesome. But they were so gross. So that happens, and of course she gets a good old idle hands. Her hand and arm starts possessing and getting pretty gnarly looking. And then yeah, like you mentioned at the beginning, she takes the electric like meat carver, and goes to town on her arm. And what I forgot too is when David and Eric come up and see they just see blood in the kitchen. They like look over at Natalie. And she turns, and I don't remember what she says, but her arm is hanging by just a piece of string or by a piece of skin, and then falls to the ground. I was like, oh my gosh, so bad.
It's little touches like that make this movie amazing.
Agreed.
Like that, Eric slipping on the piece of skin on the ground, like of all things to slip on a piece of Olivia's face.
So gross.
And then, okay, before that though, one thing I did forget or just put out of order is when Natalie goes down in the basement and Mia with the box cutter, and we've talked about box cutters on this podcast.
We have
the box cutter to the tongue.
Brutal. And it looked so real. Like that was disgusting. Oh, and then the tongue like both sides of the tongue moving together, like it's so gross. It was such a gnarly scene.
Unbelievably good.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, and then poor Natalie's just like watching. Like what? I don't even know what to do. Like
I did love that her whole thing with the hand though. I did love that this was a direct homage to the first movie and Ash's hand getting possessed.
Yep.
And they turned it crazy. They didn't make it silly like in Evil Dead 2 or Evil Dead.
Right.
They made it like actually like horrifying.
Yes, very much so.
I think one of the next things I have written down with how brutal this movie is, or actually, no, it's not. This wasn't a brutal thing. Another homage to the first movies was David preparing. I forget what they call it, but the shock pads.
Yes,
and the way that they have that edited is very much like Ash getting the chainsaw ready and all that.
Yep, totally. Those quick cuts and it's awesome.
But I also love that when David is in the shed and he's chainsawing. I think it's Natalie. He's chainsawing her.
Yes, it is.
Her body parts. The blood hits the light bulb and turns the entire room red, just like in Evil Dead.
Awesome.
2 at least. I need to rewatch 1. I can't remember if they do that in 1, right? But then I think we get to the end because this is the brutal part.
Real quick before we jump to that, one thing I did want to mention too. Is I like, and I even thought about it and I went, maybe he wouldn't have done this. But when David is getting rid of the bodies in the way that it says kind of to release the demon or whatever, you either bury him, cut him, and you chop him, burn him. I like that he does, like, he doesn't just chop everyone. He like does a little bit of, he's like, I'll do a mixture. Hey, we'll try it all. It's like maybe unrealistic. He probably just would have went and chopped and been done or burnt the whole place. But I was like, I'm for it. Let's watch this nasty stuff.
And of course, he saves Mia for the burial because he wants to try and save her.
Right. Which I got that one. That made sense.
And, he did. I remember the first time I saw this movie thinking how stupid he was to go back into the house. But of course, he had to get the keys. And I do like the way that they did that, because he goes in and he gets the keys. And then out of nowhere, all of a sudden, there's Demon Eric and he stabs him in the neck. Was it with the box cutter or was it with something else?
I thought it was something else. I thought it was, but I
like
can't
a screwdriver
remember.
Or something?
Yeah, I thought it was something like that, like just kind of a thin something. But yeah, because then when he pops it out, it kind of does like the squirt.
The squirt. It does the squirt.
It does.
I do love the squirt in movies when somebody gets stabbed in the neck.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then, so he's dead. Now the demon has its 5 souls. And our abomination comes back. And what a great sequence. Oh, blood rain. It starts raining blood.
Yes.
And then the abomination comes out of the ground.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. So it starts chasing Mia everywhere. But the most amazing moment and one of the most excruciating parts of this movie is the truck being turned over onto Mia's hand. And she just rips, the way she rips it off.
Yeah.
She's got to get free. And the only way she can get free is to pull her arm and have her hand ripped off. Like, dude.
Yeah.
Look at your face right now. It's so
I know.
funny.
I'm like, if you have not seen this and you're just listening to this for fun, like it is exactly what you think it is. Like it is gnarly. It's awful. It's For those of you that listen to us because you're too scared to watch the movies, we hope we're painting a picture because you actually see skin being pulled tight. You see like
it breaking in places, and then like she just rips it off, and she's bleeding from her bloody stump, ragged flesh flapping.
Wow.
There you go.
I like that, man. Wow, you need to write a book.
But then she puts the chainsaw onto her stump like Ash does,
Yeah.
and then she chainsaws the abomination in half. Oh man, that was great.
It was great. And it's such a cool shot because it's like the amount of blood in this scene is bonkers. But like you see the chainsaw through the monster. It's kind of like from a side angle. There's blood shooting out of the monster. It's raining blood down. She's getting blood on her. Like, it is a wild scene. Like, it is anarchy. And I am all for it.
And I'm sure many people have played Slayer's song Raining Blood while watching this scene. So, and then, so, the blood rain stops and everything's okay now.
Right. Minus, she's got a missing hand.
Yeah, and she's just walking down the highway, and I love the fact that the image of her from behind walking down the highway is the image on the poster.
Yep, it's pretty great. But see, here's the thing, though, is like we get the scene, and I can't remember because I think it doesn't end with her
opening her eyes.
Well, not that. Like the actual movie before we jump into credits, before the first scene. Do we see her walking on the road, or is that just in that extra scene?
That's it. Just in the extra scene, I think.
Which is a bummer because that's such a cool moment, and I love that moment because, like you said, it's the poster. Like, it looks really good. Because you can tell she's been through hell. Like, and it's just her slowly walking down this road to get out of evil, And then it just is a dumb scene. It's like, no,
it's just a dumb scene.
It could have been. It could have. What I thought it should have been, which I thought would have been like much better, is sort of mix the two last scenes. The person that picks her up is Ash. And then it goes from there. I was like, what a cool way to end it. Like, Ash is going to help her out. Great. But no, it was not that.
I think they just wanted, I don't know. Oh, man. Fede Alvarez.
I know.
Yeah, we're going to have some conversations in a future episode, I think, about Fede Alvarez.
I know which one you're talking about. Now, the conversation's been in the movie. Oh, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you know.
Okay.
I'm just trying to keep our listeners in suspense.
Oh, sorry. I don't know.
But yeah, so I think the only reason for that scene where the guy picks her up, "Are you okay, kiddo?"
Yeah.
is a little bit of just final bit of suspense because the camera locks in on her eyes before she opens them, and it's like, is she going to have demon eyes or is she going to have normal eyes? And then she opens them and it's just her eyes. And it's like, oh, okay, so cool.
Yeah, exactly. It's just dumb.
The next secret scene is Ash in the darkness, and he just like, which, like we said earlier, it's great to see Bruce.
Right, yep.
But, okay, where is he? What's he doing? Like, what's the point of this?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, of course, the next movie was not even made by Fede, so.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like, and again, that scene's weird, but of course, it's Bruce Campbell. I'm all about it. He can do whatever, and I'll be like, hey, it's Bruce.
Yeah.
But I look at that, like, not as, I don't know. To me, it almost is like saying and this is my only way to justify it, because it's just weird. But to be like, hey, he's in this universe too, so this is a sequel. Like, they're both in this. That's the only way I can kind of justify it. Besides being, it's Bruce Campbell.
It just pisses me off, man. Are you ready for 3 questions? Yeah. No, I'm not. Wait, I'm not ready for 3 questions.
Oh, okay.
Wait, I got one more thing.
Okay. Oh, sorry.
One note I did forget.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm good on my notes. So
this was a nice little touch. Okay, so going back to Natalie.
Yeah.
Okay, after she comes back as the demon, and the nail gun and all that.
Yeah.
Man, one of the most emotionally brutal moments of this movie, I think, is the demon seems to leave her right before she dies.
Yeah.
Like she's in David's arms, I think, and the demon's gone, like, and she's clear-headed. I think that's one of the most cruel things that the demon does in this movie.
Agreed.
Like, it's a cruel demon, and the idea of it, like, I'm going to leave you and you're just going to be confused, You
And
have
in an
no
immense
idea what just
pain.
happened. Yeah. And then you're going to die. That's messed up, dude. I like
That
to
is
end things on a nice, happy note like that.
Yeah, thank you.
No, one other thing.
I have one too, but go ahead. I want to hear
No,
yours.
what's yours? No, please.
I forgot about one other Easter egg.
Oh,
There's a shot of the Necronomicon sitting there with the shotgun above it with like 2 shells. It's like on the
Right.
table, and I was like, oh, the boomstick.
the boomstick.
But that's it. I just thought it was cool.
And then David gets shot by the shotgun.
He does get shot by the shotgun.
The musical score, once again.
Mm-hmm.
I think this was, this musical score was composed by Roque Baños, who also did the Don't Breathe movies.
Nice.
I think this is a fantastic score.
I agree. I actually did have that thought watching.
It's got
this.
some very, very beautiful moments, and I'm
Mhm.
glad you noticed it this time.
I did. There was a couple moments that it elevated everything with his score. There's just some of those does some like kind of higher pitched moments, and it's just like everything's already enough. Like stop.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. I think it was a really good score.
All right, let's go ahead and do 3 questions, Andrew.
All right, we can do that.
Who would cross the bridge of death must answer me these questions 3.
Question number 1, and this is going to be an interesting one for this movie
Yeah.
because a lot of characters kind of died, quote unquote, twice. They
Right.
died in their human form and then as their demon form.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think was the best kill or death in this movie?
I'm not doing any of those people. I'm doing the abomination itself. That scene with the chainsaw through the abomination. I mean, we talked about it. It's incredible. Like, it's so crazy and bonkers. And what a way to get rid of the demon. So I was like, I had to pick the abomination. And she goes back in the ground to hell where she belongs.
Yeah. I think most of the deaths are equal in this movie, so I'm just
Yeah.
going to agree with you. The
Okay.
abomination. Yeah, good one.
All right.
Andrew, do you think this movie is scary?
Well, I would say more disturbing. Like than to me, I wasn't scared, but I was really disturbed. Like the face cutting scene. I mean, there's just some really gruesome things where I'm just like, ugh, yuck. Like I don't
Yeah.
feel good.
Yeah.
But again, I didn't lose sleep that night. I could see people definitely being freaked out by this movie for sure. But for me, I would say more disturbing.
Yeah.
What about you?
I agree with you again. I'm just gonna keep agreeing with you, Andrew.
Oh, okay, cool.
Number 3, buddy, did you have fun with horror?
I did have fun with horror. This movie's a wild ride. It's dark, it's crazy, but man, it's a it's a fun movie. It's there's a lot to it. Be ready for it. What about you?
I did have fun with
Mhm.
horror this time.
Hey.
I knew I would.
Mhm.
You know, like I said, it was the first time I saw the movie that I wasn't totally in love with it. But
Mhm.
when I watched it before we did Evil Dead Rise, I did enjoy it then. So when you picked this movie, I was actually excited that you picked it because I was excited to watch it. I was excited to talk about it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I realize it's not like there's not a lot to talk about with this movie except for the brutality of
Right.
the special effects and kills.
I thought that as I was watching it too, just being like this. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. Like, it's,
Yeah.
you know, there's not like a lot, but like you said, I mean, it's the brutality of it that you kind of want to chat about. So, yeah, I thought the same thing.
I think we hit on everything.
Yeah, I think so.
Let's move on with our lives and
Okay.
away from the demon Shaitan. I mean, that's its name.
Yeah. I remember. Good old Shaitan. Aw.
Yeah. Or Shaitan. Shaitan.
There's probably someone that just had like a lisp. Is that Satan?
Kunda.
All right, man. That was a cute movie we just discussed. A fun one.
Yeah.
This is rare because usually we don't know what we're gonna pick. This is an instance though where I do know what you're gonna pick, and I'm
That's
not
right.
gonna say it because I want you to tell people what our next movie is.
We're going from a brutal movie to probably a very tame movie, from what I hear. But as people might know, you are coming to visit me
Woohoo!
in a couple of weekends from the day that this episode is released. The night that you get here, the day that you get here, that night, we're going to see on opening night Terrifier 3.
Woo!
And then we are going to record our very first in-person podcast when we're actually sitting in the same room talking to each other about Terrifier 3.
Awesome. I'm so excited, man. I cannot wait.
Me too. Especially since Terrifier 2 is still very much in the lead of our most listened to episode ever.
And I'm curious. I wonder if this one will be. I mean, probably eventually it will. But not everyone's going to see it that weekend. Don't want to be spoiled. So I'm very curious.
True.
If
True.
people will want to hear it right away, or if they'll wait a little bit.
We'll see, man. But yeah, it's going to be a fun weekend.
That's going to be awesome. I'm so excited. Yeah, the next time you hear one of our episodes, it'll be in person together.
Yay.
Yay.
I mean, it'll still sound the same to everybody out there, but you and I will know that we're looking straight into each other's baby blues.
That's right. And we will mention it on the podcast so you can feel like you're in the same room as us.
I don't think we will.
Okay,
I don't think
just
we'll talk
kidding.
about it at all. I don't think, yeah. Anyway, as always, everybody, thank you so much for
Yes,
listening
thank
to Fun with Horror. Thank you for being Godzilla fans. Thank you for being Alien fans, Tourist Trap fans, Return of the Living Dead fans. I'm just looking all over my apartment at anything that catches my eye. Thank you to all the Radiohead fans out there. Thank you to anybody who enjoyed Banjo-Kazooie, the video game, when it was out. And also thank you to my parents for giving birth to me. Andrew,
That's
do you
true.
have anybody you want to thank?
Oh, well, I'm recording in my stepdaughter's room because it's just quiet and nice. So I would like to thank plants, or anyone that likes plants. I'd like to thank anyone that likes perfume. Anyone that likes a window. I got nothing, dude. A broken tiara. I mean, anything. If you like those things, thank you.
That's
you.
amazing. Wow,
Yeah.
thank you to all those people. All right, well, we hope you have a great 2 weeks until our next
Yes.
episode, or another week. Oh, we got an episode coming next week. Okay, I should have mentioned this earlier, buddy.
Lay it on it. Or lay it on. Yep,
So-
I don't know.
That is our episode in 2 weeks with Andrew and I, the Terrifier episode. Next week, because we are going to release an episode every week in October.
Woohoo!
Next week, we are going to be putting our very first Patreon episode that I recorded with our friend Colby Does Horror. We are going to be releasing that here on the main feed so that everybody can hear one of our Patreon episodes.
Yes. Awesome.
So look forward to that next week. That movie is The Coffee Table, so if you haven't seen it, I'm not going to recommend anybody see it, but it's an interesting movie.
Let's just say I didn't want to do this movie, and I actually texted Scotty that I did not want to do this movie, so...
And
there
I
you
had
go.
not even mentioned that movie to anybody.
No, but I remember I had seen it everywhere, and I was like, hey, I read the synopsis, I can't do it, buddy. Sorry.
So next week, The Coffee Table, a movie that Andrew refuses to watch. The week after that, Terrifier 3.
Yes.
All right, everybody. Love you. Bye.
Love you, bye!
Whoa. Whoa.